Fight! Round 2, fight! Final round, fight!
What's up, everyone? It's Area of Effect with another out-of-the-box build. This one took a little bit longer to get out there than intended because I did that thing again where I built a bunch of builds before releasing the first one. Big shout out to Blur Savage, Oreo the DJ, and Avid Necro. All great players who destroy me just as much, so don't let the 1v1s fool you. But love this build, guys. It's very powerful, and we're going to jump right in, starting with the stat screen. Alright, so we're just under 30k max health. Look at those recoveries, both stamina and magicka. We don't have our minor brutality going on here. It puts us right under 4k weapon and spell damage. We are running major breach, so add that to the penetration, an additional 6,000. Here's the back bar. Look at the resistances, sword and board bar, about 32 plus and then almost 30. We are running the Thief on this build to put us about 34% crit chance on this, and we'll get into that later as to why with crit surge. But Smoked Bear Haunch is our food, triple recoveries, and a big max health. If you don't have this, you can use the Jewels of Misrule. It's just a little cheaper, gives you a little less bang for your buck. Like I said, we're using the Thief as our Mundus, and we'll get into that further into the video. But basically, it's going to provide us a lot more healing while also giving us some big damage numbers. This is a subclass build. It's a Dragon Knight base with the Draconic Power, Earthen Heart, but we threw on the Storm Calling from the Sork class, and that's going to give us some skills we'll get into as we go further into the skill section later on. We are an Orc. We got that Brawny passive, gives us an additional 1,000 max stam. We got that Unflinching Rage, an additional 1,000 max health, and almost 2,200 healing every 4 seconds when you deal damage. I just love this kind of passive heal, just constantly. Swift Warrior, weapon and spell damage 258, reduce the cost of sprint by 12%, and increase the movement speed bonus of sprint by 10%. A lot of mobility on this build. I say it a lot. I love an Orc in PvP. Like I said, Smoked Bear Haunch, but as an alternative, a cheaper one, you could use Jewels of Misrule as your food, It does just fine when I'm testing these builds. I don't always test it with the smoked bear, too costly. And we're using tripods on this, health, magicka, stamina, and all of the major buffs for recoveries that go with those. All right, jumping into the gear now. Sword and board back bar of Asylum. I'll break that down in just a minute. One piece monster set, Magma Incarnate for the dual magicka and stamina recoveries. We're running the Torque of Tonal Constancy Mythic with a Bloodthirsty. That gives us tons of recovery. 5-piece of Torques Pact and 5-piece of Winterborn, with the front bar being a Lightning Staff of Winterborn. But I wanted to kind of show, before I jumped full into the gear and the tooltips and stuff, kind of what the idea was with the sword and board back bar. When you reflect or absorb a projectile, you restore magicka with defensive posture, which is a sword and board skill. If no projectile comes your way, you restore 6,000 plus. That's just insane. We'll show how that works here. A lot of reflection of projectiles. The Mythic, you have a lot of options. Sea Serpents. I even messed with the Bellhauser's Band. Markin, all of these. The only one you don't want to use is Oaken Soul, because we need a 2-bar build on this, because we are double dipping into some glyphs. I had a build I released on a Necro a long time ago that kind of did this. This one's a bit different. I think a bit better, actually. But anyway, the Torque of Tonal Constancy combined with that one piece just gives us tons of recovery. And I'll explain why I'm using the 5-piece of Torques Pact and like I said, the 5-piece of Winterborn with the front bar of the Lightning Staff. So, Torques Pact, why am I using this? So, Torques Pact is going to basically increase our weapon enchantment potency and decrease the weapon enchantment cooldown. So you get a faster fire off of repeat glyph hits, and they deal more damage. Status effects, by the way, also deliver at a much higher chance with glyphs than any other source in the game. But so we've got the Torques Pact on at all times, 5 pieces. We got the Winterborn on the front bar, infused, by the way. Look at that glyph, 5588 shock damage. Torques Pact combined with the infused trait. But also, when you deliver a blow of frost, you'll deliver a stalagmite of ice that delivers in an AoE, a direct damage. The tooltip in the bottom there, Winterborn, 5114. Obviously, that could crit the primary target and anybody else around. So what happens when you light attack and force pulse? You're going to get the light attack, the additional damage attached to the light attack from crushing weapon, which you'll see in a minute, the Psijic skill, the force pulse, all 3 deliveries of that, flame, frost, and shock. You're going to get the frost, the ice stalagmite from Winterborn proccing from the frost portion of force shock, and you're going to get the huge glyph damage deliver with that. And this is like every 1.8 seconds that glyph is going to fire off, and every just few seconds you're going to have that Winterborn proc. It's like 5 seconds, 5 or 6 seconds, and it's just like a constant. There's like 8, sometimes 9 tooltips all at once that just show up, and we will show some of that more in a demonstration with these dummies. But I did mess around. You'll have seen in some clips a back bar not being sword and board. I did the ice staff, which provided the blockade, because the blockade is a 2-handed weapon with a 2-handed staff, so you get a little more out of the glyph, and it lays in the ground, and you can just kind of auto proc your glyph. But they got to be in it on the ground. Whereas the shield throw on the sword and board bar, this one, as you see, the scribed skill, it procs your glyph, like it's a very rare circumstance. You're not supposed to be able to like sticky proc glyphs anymore. You used to be able to do that, like with rending slashes, procking like the way of the fire and things like that. But usually it's what your weapons, you lay the AoE on the ground, whether it's from Stampede or Elemental Blockade, and that can keep proccing your glyph if they're standing in it. But you can't have a damage over time, like Destructive Touch or Rending Slashes, keep proccing your glyph on autopilot attached to a person, an enemy. But with Magical Throw, it does allow that to work like that. So that's cool. We're guaranteed they can't run out of it. People will try to run out of stupid. Who's going to just stay in your blockade? Obviously, you could set your field and play in it, but basically the idea is to have your back bar glyph firing off on autopilot, okay? And then switch to your front bar, and both of these are buffed by Torag's Pact. Now I'm on my front bar. The back bar glyph is still attacking on the top. You'll see it. They all have damage over times at their waist, but the shield glyph was still firing off on this ogre. Look at all those deliveries right there at once. And that was the Winterborn, the Crushing Shock, Crushing Weapon, and we're going to break all that down and show the tooltips here, starting with the skill section. So the Crushing Shock is our first skill. Flame, frost, and shock damage all at once. This is going to deliver right there. Winterborn, as you saw, it's going to break apart now. Get myself some minor brutality to give proper tooltips. Healing Soul, it's going to heal us or an ally. Big burst heal. We have the class mastery giving us weapon and spell damage increase and a damage reduction more for more enemies around in the area. And then major vitality, increasing our damage shield size and healing received pretty substantially. So the next skill we're going to go into, by the way, Fossilize. That's how we get our minor brutality, as well as corrosion, but we haven't got into that yet. But the next skill is Crushing Weapon. This is a Psijic skill line skill. This is awesome on this. We picked the stamina costing one, physical damage, because it gives them the major breach, reducing their resistances by almost 6,000. Okay, so you cast this, it's our B button here, and if you do a light attack within 2 seconds, you're going to attach a lot more damage to it. So Fossilize for that, and then you'll see cast it, and it also procs an orb. There's another orb. See the orbs going around me? After like 5, it'll launch out and send an orb out. But there you go. It was a light attack with the glyph and with the Crushing Weapon skill itself. So right there, it's just a light attack with the glyph and Crushing Weapon. Look at that. That's just a light attack. That is not the Crushing Shock, Force Pulse, or the Winterborn. It's just with the light attack and Crushing Weapon, which is insanity. Okay, next skill, Mage's Wrath. A little bit of damage up front, but as you know, it's a big finisher. They drop below 20% health. They're going to explode for over 10,000 and damage enemies nearby. Awesome finisher to put on a Dragon Knight who usually doesn't have one. Just insane ranged combo to throw that on there while you're weaving your light attack and Crushing Shock. Next skill, Shattering Rocks. I like this. It's basically the Fossilized morph. You stun them hard, and then when they break out of it, you deal damage and you heal. So when they break out, you'll see that I'll heal. Right there it was only as much as I had missing from my health. But it can be a pretty decent heal. Locks them in place. And like I said, also gives us minor brutality as a passive, because in the Earthen Heart passives, when you cast a Earthen Heart skill, you'll also get your ultimate back. By the way, you'll get resources back for your ultimate, which I love. That's my favorite passive probably in the game, by the way. But there's your minor brutality. You also hand that out to your allies, which is great. There's not many sources of minor brutality in the game, even with scribing. But anyway, Helping Hands, when you cast that, you'll also restore 1120 stamina. Nice little stamina proc. So that's the non-ultimate front bar. The ultimate we have in the front bar is Dragon Leap, with the one that gives us the actual shield. I don't know, I always use this one instead of Take Flight, but 13,000 flame damage. It's just the best table turner skill I feel like in the game. You gap close, you stun, you regain resources with the other passive on Earthen Heart, you gain a damage shield, and you deal big damage. It's just great. So that's our tooltip is 313. Look at the damage shield, 33,618 with that major vitality from the Healing Soul on the back bar. Now the sword and board bar, magical throw. We covered this a little bit, but look again. Magic damage up front, magic damage over time, 4750, but it says this effect can trigger your weapon enchantment. And our weapon enchantment, by the way, in this, it can't be the same weapon enchantment as we have in the front bar. But I pick one that actually deals damage and heals me. So this becomes a damage over time and a heal over time. The glyph I have on the sword ends up being a heal that gets buffed tremendously by Torg's Pact and the infused in the front bar. Resolving Vigor, just you get minor resolve minor ward. We picked blue to match the build, and you get a big heal over 5 seconds. It costs stamina. Defensive Stance. This is the one that works with the Asylum Sword and Board. You get a damage shield again, and then you reflect the projectiles. It could be a snipe. It could be crystal frags. I love this skill. I love using this and spamming it while I'm getting hit with the bow ultimate, and it just sends it all back, and the guy just destroys himself with his own arrows. But I love the resource management as well. Look at my Magicka just flying with this by spamming it, because I kind of early canceled that 2 seconds. Now watch. Look at my Magicka. There's the proc. Right back up. 6,000 plus, almost 7,000. So anyway, the next skill, just amazing on this build. So much healing. Crit Surge from the Sork line. Weapon and spell damage, major brutality, major sorcery, 20%. But look at this. While dealing critical hits, 3366 per second. That's insane. That's why we use the Thief Mundus to kind of keep that coming. And then we've got our Major Resolve and Major Ward from the Dragon Knight line. Increases our damage, gives us a damage shield as well, and also returns damage if we take direct damage in melee range. And we picked the blue morph, so we got blue spikes. Looks perfect. Now this skill, everybody already knows Corrosive. We will kind of show how effective that is on this this build, because it basically ignores their resistance with direct damage skills. And with our combos, Mage's Wrath, Crushing Weapon, Winterborn, the Glyph, including Crushing Shock, all of it is direct damage. So you just can't get away from that finisher range. It's just nuts. Now I will show this when I had the blockade going and not the sword and board back bar. We had Streak. Okay, we have Crit Surge, moved it over here, got rid of Magical Throw, got rid of the Defensive Posture Asylum skill to reflect projectiles. We got the blockade going down now though, okay, and we've got Streak. Just a nice way to get away, so we get a little more mobility. That's an option you have on this. I had to show it because I featured both of these in the PvP clips. But yeah, that's the way to go for that. You get a damage shield, but also you get a little more out of your Glyph because it's a two-handed weapon. So on the sword and board bar, you just get the one piece from the dagger, or the axe, I think it was, the Asylum axe, and it just cuts that Glyph in half. But with Torg's Pact, you get a little more out of it than you typically would, and you borrow the infused trait from the front bar, by the way. Forgot to mention that. Then again, back to the ultimate, we've got Corrosive. Basically, you're unkillable. Everything you take, any damage you take, could be a meteor, could be an ulti, could be a Donnie. It's going to take only 3% of your max health, and you hit people like they're naked. All right. Now, the champion point distribution. Starting with the blue tree, cutting defense, you deal 470 magic damage to attackers whenever they damage you with a direct damage attack within 7 meters. This scales off your physical and spell resistance. Just extra reflection damage, goes great hand in hand with the already existing Dragon Knight passive. Reaving Blows, when you deal direct damage, you heal for 7% of the damage done. So all the stuff we're doing pretty much is direct damage, most of it at least, a lot of healing back to us. Fighting Finesse, 8% more critical damage done and healing received. That's awesome since we're running the Thief Mundus. Untamed Aggression, just an additional 150 weapon and spell damage, helping us to hit harder and heal harder. All right, in the red tree, Boundless Vitality, 1,400 max health, helping us get toward that 30k threshold. Fortified, additional physical and spell resistance, 1,700 armor, helping us get that resistance up to mitigate more damage. Rejuvenation, a constant 90 magicka health and stamina recovery at all times. And the last one is Pain's Refuge. Reduce your damage taken by 2% for every 2 negative effects on you. A maximum of 20%. That's a lot of damage mitigation. This is great for PvP, probably one of the best defensive CP slots, I think, in the game for PvP. But that's pretty much going to wrap up our... I mean, you could swap a couple of things out. These are just recommended. But that's going to wrap up the CP distribution and wrap up this build video, the Blue Knight build. And guys, I really think this might be the best build I've put together when it comes to defensive capability and offensive power all packed into one, with the reflection of projectiles, the Asylum Resource Restore, the Magical Throw Scribe skill on the sword and board, passively healing you while dealing damage, which is all buffed by Infused and Torag's Pact, and then double dipping into the glyphs with the front bar of Winterborn, proccing that Stalagmite with the crushing weapon Sigic attaching to the light attacks with Force Shock, and the glyph delivering on the front bar. It's just insane. Mage's Wrath, Fossilize, Crit Surge, Dragon Leap. Guys, I got to tell you, I think it's my favorite build, and sorry it took a long time to get out. I got ahead of myself with some of the other builds I've got coming out, but keep your eyes peeled, and they'll be there right around the corner. Area of Effect, signing out.